Scream 7 appears to have become the very thing its films were made to satirize. Okay, think of Scream 7 as a Pokemon who reaches its final evolution, then turns back into an egg, but instead of a Pokemon, its egg is full of underdeveloped Pokecum, and then it drowns in its own seminal fluids. Does that make sense? Doesn't matter, neither does this movie. I'm not gonna lie, I hated this movie. But it's a quiet hatred, not a loud, vibrating hatred like what I feel for Silent Hill 2 Return to Silent Hill. But that is a video for another day. Mark your calendars. My quiet hatred comes from the potential of what this series could be if, much like you the last time you were rejected, it moved the fuck on. Sorry, was that too soon? Scream 7 is definitely the worst Scream in the Scream franchise. Arguments can probably be made to the contrary, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. To preface, I'm perfectly fine with liking bad things, as long as they don't emotionally and mentally disrespect me as a consumer. I love awful slashers. I love the Scream series. I'm aware there are good and bad entries in it. And yes, this might be over dramatic, but who cares? Tell your father to come beat me up with his big, strong. The original Scream is one of my favorite movies of all time. It was incredibly clever and fresh at the time, and Ghostface is such a fun, creepy character who's also one of my favorite slashers of all time. Yes, he's one of the weakest, and yes, he's never truly been terrifying, but he's also one of the funnest and creepiest because he's grounded in at least some semblance of reality. He has a perfect aesthetic, and he can be anyone, creating a genuine sense of paranoia within his victims. I mean, even now I'm calling him he, but that could just be a red herring. That's the fun of Ghostface. Someone call a repairman, the fourth wall is broken. But I do have to emphasize creepy from a distance, not scary. Because as long as you stay the fuck out of Sydney Prescott's orbit or the orbit of her orbiting moons, you will usually be just fine. Usually. Now at this point, I'm gonna be quite honest, the last thing I want to do is talk about Sydney Prescott. I'm tired of Sydney Prescott. I'm exhausted by and bored of Sydney Prescott. But I have to talk about her. It's an obligation being forced upon me. This is, once again, begrudgingly, her movie. She is the real slasher. Much like Jason Voorhees, she never dies. I'm gonna be like 70 watching 90-year-old Sydney Prescott with a feeding tube and an IV still surviving. Guess who, Sydney?
Don't you know who I am? It's over for you, bitch.
Pew pew pew. Same with Gale Weathers. They're tardigrades. They're in a persistent state of cryptobiosis. This movie would have been infinitely better if they had both been brutally murdered in an ungodly way. Just imagine Ghostface taking off the mask as Gale Weathers watches, but underneath, plot twist, it's another mask, 3D printed with Dewey's face. How tragic. And he just stabs her rude one-dimensional ass like 15 million fucking times. Also, using Stu Macher from the first film as an AI gotcha was so incredibly fucking lame. It was icky J.J. Abrams nostalgia bait designed to make a pretend audience stand up and cheer in the theater just to flex that they know who a character from 30 years ago is.
Brought back only to be killed off in some cheap bid for nostalgia.
It is dangling keys in front of a baby trying to make it feel entertained. I'm not a baby, keep your dirty ass keys to yourself. If they wanted to go the AI route, they could have duplicated Sydney's mother's voice from old home videos, which would have actually been scary and disturbing if done right. They could have antagonized Sydney until the killer drops her daughter and her into a wood chipper feet first, in that order. I think I'd make a better Ghostface than most of the Ghostfaces, to be honest with you. They're all kind of lacking in imagination. Look, I understand some of you love Sydney Prescott and probably think I went too far, but I'm pretty sure this series has went too far, so I think the punishment fits the crime. I'll be honest, I also hated Samantha as a character, but I did like her two movies more than this movie. At least Stewie died in those films. The killer identities also made sense. And if you want me to be completely honest, I would have preferred Mindy and Chad be the main characters. They're funny, they're charming, they've got personality, and they're a lot more compelling than Sydney Prescott and Gale Weathers. Also, Chad, if you ever need an exceptional conversationalist with a caramel cappuccino complexion and what my grandmother tells me is a very cute face, please call me and I'm yours. I hate falling in love with Nepo babies. Did you know his father is Cuba Gooding Jr.? I wish I could Cube his junior? Sure. So, besides the fact that I'm tired of seeing these characters, save Mindy and Chad, the story was also hot baloney vomit. I can't count all the reasons, I only have 10 minutes, but here are 7. Scream 7. Number 1. What did they gain from the initial kill? Was there a deeper meaning? Was this signifying them finally burning the franchise to the ground after 3 decades? Number 2. It seems like they no longer care about the meta rules of the slasher genre, because what more can they really do or say here to reach further beyond the fourth wall than what they have already done? They kind of make attempts, but they do flounder. I think it would have added a lot to the film if, after reviewing the evidence, Mindy just simply says, "We're in a bad film. We're in the worst entry, so rules and logic don't matter." Next, they could have done Jumping the Shark for the entry after this, which could make for a really fun movie. Then, after that, a highly unhinged remake, which at this point I think we can afford. It could be doubly meta. It could break the fifth wall. It could be completely insane. Call me. I have ideas. We do not have to flounder. Floundering is merely a bubble on a list of options. Number 3, this movie is essentially, "Hey mom, can we stop and pick up some 2018 Halloween reboot, please? I'm hungry." And your mom is like, "Absolutely not. You know we have 2018 Halloween reboot at home." But she's talking about Scream 7. "I think it tastes like butter will never be, I can't believe it's not butter." One isn't butter, and you're genuinely shocked because it tastes just like butter. You can't believe it. Wow! The other is also not butter. However, it is non-committal in its phrasing. Like, it might possibly taste like butter, maybe, but you're not quite sure. You have your reservations. There's enough room for doubt. Does this actually taste like butter? Rising inflection question mark? Number 4. The previously mentioned Stumacher AI scam.
Brought back only to be killed off in some cheap bid for nostalgia.
Ew, gross, dumb, again, jingling keys, baby. Number 5. Tatum's boyfriend just has his AI test on his laptop, open in his truck, seeing if he can replicate the video calls Stumacher is sending Sydney. All this just so the narrative can have him pretend to wear Stumacher's face while he makes extreme threats at Sydney and her daughter, aka his girlfriend, just to frame him as a red herring. They're not even using AI in the production of this movie as far as I know, but the concept of AI is already making stories dumber.
It must have been that AI I've been hearing so much about.
Yeah, I think I was like, yeah, the whole time. I don't want this short review to get out of hand, but this one thing needs a play-by-play. This human man is walking to his vehicle with Sydney's daughter, who I think is his girlfriend. She is being stalked by Ghostface. Her mother, Sydney, is being antagonized by an AI replication of someone who tried to kill her 3 decades ago, someone she thinks is dead. As this human man is walking Sydney's daughter to his vehicle, he is holding his laptop. His laptop is open. First red flag, how can you hold your laptop like this? Who the fuck holds their laptop like this? Who, says the owl? This human man places the open laptop into the vehicle with a menacing expression for only the audience to see. Then he helps his girlfriend, Sydney's daughter, into the vehicle, briefly leaving her alone with the open laptop. She then watches his AI transformation into the person who is threatening her mom as he is saying psychotic he didn't even need to say if he was only doing this for a mere test, which is his explanation when she immediately confronts him, which is also unfortunately the truth. I mean, obviously he looks very guilty here, prompting Sydney's daughter to knock him unconscious with the evidence and flee. At this point, even having watched the movie and knowing who the movie wants me to believe the killers are, I'm pretty sure he is Ghostface. I know he got stabbed to death, but getting stabbed stabbed and just somehow living is kind of a natural phenomenon in these parts. Also, if you want to explore the deeper meaning, this is really a highly complex and thoughtful commentary on American society. Also, he couldn't possibly be that stupid. I know plenty of stupid people. I am an advocate, by the way. I am an ally, and none of them would have ever done something like this. Number 6. So why didn't they investigate a little harder? Isn't Sydney's husband the police chief in this movie? What are his resources? They know one of the ghost faces came from the asylum. They find this out after they kill the first ghost face early on, but they don't investigate this too deeply. They just go to the asylum, talk to one random guy, the most convenient random guy, by the way, and accept that Stumacher is still alive. They don't even make a slight assumption that even if he is alive, he might be working with other people who have possibly come from the asylum since it's already been proven he's already been working with one of them? What? Also, when the employee tells them about the John Doe from the asylum who suspiciously looks like Stu, the group, which includes lifetime masked killer survivor Sidney Prescott, the investigative journalist Gail Weathers, and Sidney's chief of police husband, put forth zero effort in obtaining records of that person. What? They don't want to get better visual evidence of what that person looked like, which could help prove whether or not it was actually Stu? It's nonsense. This is a movie full of characters too stupid to be real. Again, this is just Scream becoming the very thing it used to satirize. Number 7. This leads me to the identities of Scream 7's Ghostface killers. As mentioned, the first Ghostface is some random guy from the asylum who buys coffee from Sydney early in the film. He dies pretty early on. The second Ghostface is also a random guy from the asylum, the employee who conveniently lies about Stu being the John Doe, which again, they fully avoid investigating further for the convenience of the plot. The third Ghostface is Sydney's new friend who's barely in the movie, who was also from the asylum. I don't want to get too deep into the overcomplicated dumb fuckery of it all, the unhinged timeline necessary to make this film make sense, or the logistics of one of Sydney's daughter's friends being the child of Ghostface 3, who Ghostface 3 also murders. I don't want to stress you out. I'm black screen, ad-free, 8-hour brown noise. Banning the complicated background noise from the discussion, essentially the killers wanted to kill Sydney in front of her daughter to create a new cycle of trauma. All this because they felt Sydney had outlived her prime as a final girl, which, to be fair, are they wrong? I mean, the killers are barely even in this movie to establish any real drama with the reveals, unlike with every previous entry, even the not so good ones. Also, we've already seen this before, executed in a way better fashion in Scream 5. Yeah, I guess I understand the minor nuance and difference between the killer motives in Scream 5 and 7, however, the motivation in 7 does not do enough work to feel like a new idea. It's honestly an old idea that's running up 7 flights of stairs after having an unsuccessful triple bypass and a heart stint made of peanut butter. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted to make this under 10 minutes. I failed. But hey, that's okay. So did Scream 7. I realized I needed to make shorter videos because longer videos, despite being what the algorithm seems to want, will kill your channel if they take too long to come out. Unfortunately, most of my ideas are long ideas, but I will do my best. I hope. Hit the buttons, please. Never undercome, only overcome. Shoot high and expect to miss. I love you. Good night.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. Do it. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Do it. So good.
Well, it's time. I'm subscribing.
Excellent.